Following the election results in Alabama and the fact that Roy Moore lost to Democrat Doug Jones, people on the alt-right team started losing it, calling the voters conservatives, because that's the only way they know how to communicate. And then you have the establishment types blaming various people, various reasons for why Roy Moore lost. Interestingly enough, none of them blamed Roy Moore for being an accused child molester for his reason of losing, but they did blame one another. So let's get to the people blaming Bannon. Steve Bannon, of course, head of Breitbart, was very supportive of Roy Moore and was pushing Roy Moore rather aggressively. And a number of Republicans came out and essentially blamed him for not only endorsing him, but leading to a Democrat winning a seat in Alabama. So let's take a look at the first video. This is Peter King on CNN, essentially going after Bannon.
Hi, Bannon. Why is he such a big deal?
You know, I was even raising this not even so much as a political issue, almost as a moral issue. This guy does not belong on the national stage. He looks like some disheveled drunk that wandered onto the political stage. He does not represent anything that I stand for. I consider myself a conservative Republican. I consider myself an Irish Catholic. And he sort of parades himself out there with his weird alt-right views that he has, and to me it's demeaning the whole governmental and political process. This summer I called on the president to fire him from the from the White House. And I think last night in Alabama was not just a political statement, that was really just a revulsion by people at his style, at his type of divisive views, which were the political and governmental, whether he was involved in the White House trying to undercut the president on his foreign policy, whether he encourages racial division. This is not the type of person we need in politics. And last night's election was a manifestation of a revulsion by the American people.
Did you just call Steve Bannon a disheveled drunk?
No, to be very precise, I said he looks like one.
Now, you know that them's fighting words when it comes
Absolutely.
to Steve Bannon. Is that a fight that you want to take on?
I have no problem. Listen, you have to fight for what's right.
Oh, I love that. I wish he would have just said, yeah, that's what I said. Disheveled drunk. Like that distinction was unnecessary. We're all thinking the same thing. Anyway.
Look, I don't know if Steve Bannon drinks. I don't care. I mean, so I love that he got humiliated last night. And you know, people who try to bully others, the most important thing for them is an illusion of power. Oh, don't mess with me because then I'll get you and you'll be in a lot of trouble. Well, they messed with you, Steve, and what happened? Nothing, you lost. And you were so full of bravado and all this fire and brimstone and I'm gonna get you and I'm gonna unseat all you guys. And it turns out you're kind of limp. I mean, you wanna talk about conservative. Right?
Okay.
I mean, Doug Jones kind of cucked you, didn't he?
Oh, geez.
Okay, I'm just saying that's what it looks like.
It does look like that. Okay, so let's hear from the Wall Street Journal. Their editorial board put out a piece that I thought was pretty interesting. Remember, their editorial board is conservative, and here's what they had to say about the election results. The Alabama result shows that Mr. Bannon cares less about conservative policy victories than he does personal king-making. He wants to depose Mitch McConnell as majority leader, even if it costs Republicans Senate control. GOP voters take note, Mr. Bannon is for losers.
Damn.
Yeah. Shots
fired.
And then one of my favorite tweets, and very simple, simplicity is everything. Let's go to graphic 21. Meghan McCain just said this, suck it, Bannon.
Yes. So look, it's fun to rub it in for Steve Bannon, and
yes.
He's not a political genius. He just backs the most atrocious candidate and thinks that the country is as racist and hateful and fearful as he is. And he couldn't even get him to be that hateful and fearful in Alabama. So it didn't work. Now, on the other hand, and I think there is actually a slight other hand here. The establishment hates him not because of the hateful language and all of that. Let's be honest, the Republican Party's been doing the Southern strategy for decades now. And so that is premised on the idea of using dog whistles to get racists in the South to vote for them. So yeah, Steve Bannon dropped a dog whistle and he's using a human whistle, but that's not their main problem. If that was their main problem, they'd have never done the Southern strategy in the first place, let alone in 2004 running against gay rights when Bush did that, let alone smearing McCain in 2000 when Bush said he had an illegitimate black child, which he doesn't have. So please, Ronald Reagan going to do the speech in Philadelphia, Mississippi to rub it into slain civil rights leaders. Okay, so I know what the Republican Party is. Their main problem with Steve Bannon is that he is running against them. And,
yes.
And they don't like that. So any outsider, any populist, the entirety of the establishment, including the media, is going to be against. So they're reveling in this moment, and they will use it, by the way, against the right wing, but they'll also use it against the left wing and say, oh, no, never, ever primary incumbents. And in this case, Roy Moore wasn't an incumbent. In a sense, Luther Strange was. And Bannon did primary him with Roy Moore. Never ever take on the establishment. That is not the correct lesson to learn here. The correct lesson to learn is America is not nearly as hateful as Steve Bannon or most of the Republican Party for most of their history.
Look, I agree with you. They hate. People in the establishment hate being primaried. We know that. We know that on the Democratic side, we know that on the Republican side. And I think that that's one of the overwhelming reasons why they hate Bannon. But I think there are other factors at play. First of all, the party of bullies is the Republican Party. And what I mean by that is that they are always very successful in aggressive campaigning, negative campaigning, attacking the other party, essentially bullying their way into success. And Democrats are not so great with that. However, Bannon and his class of people come in and they're better at bullying than even the Republicans are. And all of a sudden you get Republicans who are bullied, right? One of my favorite memes was Mitt Romney sitting with Donald Trump after the election. And Romney is like kind of creepily looking into the camera with this weird smile. Trump says in this meme, right? Tell him what your name is. My name is Reek, right?
And my favorite meme is Ted Cruz on the phone calling for Donald Trump to get votes out in 2016. Oh, that was so sad. That was so wonderfully sad.
So they get bullied. Like they go from denouncing and rejecting Trump after the audio from Access Hollywood comes out to all of a sudden getting bullied into supporting him. I know they hate that. I know they hate that. And also, let's keep it real. While maybe behind the scenes, some of these Republicans are complicit when it comes to the sexism or the racism and all that stuff, they don't want to be transparent about it. And people like Bannon are transparent about it, and it makes the party look bad. It makes them appear to be incredibly unsavory, and they don't like that either. So I think those are some of the reasons behind the scenes as well.
I got to give you my favorite quote though out of all of this. Josh Holmes, who I'm no fan of, he's a former chief of staff for Mitch McConnell, so I got no interest in him. But he hates Steve Bannon, so that's fun. And he said, it was thought to be damn near impossible for a Republican to lose the state of Alabama, but Steve Bannon hadn't run a race there yet. If you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member, tytnetwork.com/join.